Hello, I'm Benjamin Corey Tusha, and today I'm going to talk to you about the Fourth Amendment, search and seizure, and how it relates to education. The Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution protects citizens against unreasonable search and seizure. In institutes of higher education, some of those rights are restricted. It is vital that decision makers understand the key statutory laws and legal precedents regarding search and seizure as it relates to student property, cell phone privacy, searching vehicles on campus, strip searches, and other legal matters such as looking into a dorm room. Administrators must ensure that staff is properly trained and prepared to deal with the unique situations they will face, ensuring the safety of the educational community. The Fourth Amendment of the Constitution states the rights of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, effects against unreasonable search and seizure, and that no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause. The Fourth Amendment of the Constitution is a pivotal instrument to our nation as a whole and educational institutes across the United States. It is an essential element in protecting the rights of the staff, the students, and the facility. This amendment must be a key portion of the ethical decision-making process for school officials. Decision makers must understand the Fourth Amendment, statutory case laws, and legal precedents that applies to students in their educational community. So where did the Fourth Amendment come from? The history of the Fourth Amendment grew from several different events and incidents leading up to the Revolutionary War. To comprehend the concepts of the Fourth Amendment, you would have to imagine a life as a colonist during the late 1700s under the rule of King George III. Tensions rose between the colonists and the crown. The British soldiers frequently commandeered or forced their way into private residence or businesses in the name of the king. The colonists felt that this was a direct violation of this particular case law. Semane's civil case stated that a homeowner had the right to deny and defend their residents from unlawful entry. This law was established in 1604. Civil unrest laid the foundation for the Revolutionary War and what later became known as the Fourth Amendment. Although the Fourth Amendment seems pretty straightforward, sometimes in education, that interpretation has become a little muddled. Today, we're going to take a look at 4 different cases and 1 new up-and-coming legal precedent regarding the Fourth Amendment. New Jersey versus Tilo defines the rights of a student in regards to searching their property. In this particular situation, Tilo was a 14-year-old girl attending a New Jersey high school who was observed by a staff member smoking cigarettes in the bathroom with another classmate. They were taken up front, and the classmate admitted to smoking. Tilo denied it. The administrator or the principal insisted on searching her belongings, her bag. Although she disagreed, the principal searched it anyway. When he opened Tilo's bag, he not only discovered the cigarettes, but he also discovered drugs and drug paraphernalia. The parents argued that Tilo's Fourth Amendment rights were, in fact, violated. The Supreme Court actually issued a ruling on this, and the court ruled the search and seizure is not only limited to just law enforcement, but that public schools act as agents of the state. They also function in a way to where they can search through bags when a situation warrants, if there's probable cause or reasonable suspicion. In this case, JC was a high school student with a disciplinary problem. He was observed on his phone by a teacher texting away. The teacher took the phone and gave it to one of the administrators. The administrator had been dealing with JC due to some of JC's depression and disciplinary problems, and felt that there might be something in the text that would be concerning. So the assistant principal went through JC's phone and read the text. Subsequently, JC was expelled because of the context of not just over the text, but violating the school rules about texting or having a phone in school. The attorney argued the Fourth Amendment rights of JC were violated, and the Supreme Court stated that this type of search, although it made sense to a degree, that this type of search is an invasion of the Fourth Amendment rights. That we cannot take individuals' phones and search through the content of the phone, at least not in a situation like this. And so the court ruled that this was a violation. In this case, Thomas E. Best was a high school student at a New Jersey high school. Best was accused of dealing drugs to other students on campus. The assistant principal insisted on searching Best's student property, his backpack, and his person. After finding nothing, the assistant principal insisted on searching Best's vehicle. Although Best protested at this, he eventually allowed the search, and during the search, drugs and drug paraphernalia was located. Best's attorney argued that Best's Fourth Amendment rights were violated. However, the Supreme Court ruled that a vehicle parked on campus is subject to search. Savannah Redding was a 13-year-old middle school student who was caught with an over-the-counter painkiller, an ibuprofen or Motrin. And she was taken to the office by one of the teachers, and the assistant principal had the nurse search Savannah in her office. And when I say search, she strip searched the young girl. And so she made her take off all of her clothes and shake out her bra, which exposed her breast, and shake out her undergarments, which exposed her pelvic region. The parents were livid by this and said that the school went too far. And the attorney argued that the Fourth Amendment rights were violated, and the Supreme Court upheld that thought. It stated that this was too intrusive of a search, and that strip searches should not be conducted by school officials. This is a recent case out of Texas, and this is legal precedence. So in this case, Mackenzie Rodriguez had her dorm room searched by a residential assistant who was actually another student who entered into Rodriguez's dorm room and completed what was referred to as a routine search or inspection of the room. The search that this RA did was far more than routine. The RA ended up moving things over, picking things up, looking in cabinets, and confiscated anything that he found that was drug related and took pictures. And so Rodriguez's attorney took this case to court saying that the Fourth Amendment rights were violated, and the Texas Court of Appeals stated that yes, they were violated. The school had gone a little too far. The RA had done more than just a routine inspection. They'd done a detailed search, something that would be consistent with that of needing a search warrant. And so in this recent case law, it gave the idea that administration and residential assistants can go in and take a look in a classroom or in a dorm room for anything that may be a violation of school policy, but they can't do a detailed search. They can't start moving things. Objects that are discovered must be in plain sight. Although there are many similarities between private and public schools, the rights afforded to students are often much different in private schools than they are in public schools. The Fourth Amendment, which is intended to protect all citizens from unreasonable search and seizure, firmly applies in public schools. However, students attending a private school operate underneath an entirely different set of rules. They have agreed to attend that school. They chose to attend it, and they have chosen to participate in the programs that are there. And so many of the rules that would be underneath search and seizure, such as like entering into a dorm room, are vastly different in a private school than they are in a public. So they are very different. With the alarming rise in school-related violence and school shootings, it puts administrators in a very uncomfortable situation. Schools must find a way to balance the rights of the students against the safety of the university. They've got to with increased threats, they've got to take increased steps to prevent illegal activity from going on within the campus. But this does put many educators in a very uncomfortable situation. School administrators need to be aware of the statutory laws and case law that establishes legal precedents. School administrators must be constantly mindful of their actions and the actions of their staff. They cannot allow their staff to engage in any legal wrongdoings. It is the school's responsibility to make sure that all staff is trained and aware of the laws and legal responsibilities that each teacher has. They must provide training to ensure they are equipped to deal with the unique situations that will occur within a classroom. Each student is different. Administrators must understand the legal precedents and case law that has come before. They have to understand what they can and cannot do. They can search a backpack, but they can't do a strip search. They can take a phone from a student, but they can't search the content. They can search a vehicle parked in school grounds, but they can't necessarily search a dorm room anytime they want. They've got to remember the case, statutory laws, and legal precedents. It is clear that the environment of the education system is constantly evolving. Policies, guidelines, and laws are continuously under review. Decision makers and administrators must be aware of the changing environment and dedicated to protecting the rights and safety of all their students. The Fourth Amendment of the Constitution is an integral part of the education system and our nation. It is vital that decision makers and administration, along with employees of institutes of higher education, understand the regulations, statutory laws, and legal precedents regarding students' Fourth Amendment rights. Decision makers must understand the process of protecting the rights of the students and balance the safety needs of the school with the ever-evolving education process. Here are the references used for the material within this presentation. Here are the images used within this presentation.